this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. From my home, cracked and broken asphalt everywhere.
Step on in here. This is a
I could have ended up just like that broken road with a dead end in my path. Thank the Lord that I've got more than that. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage.
Is covering for me so that I can actually take a week off, and I'm super excited about that. But anyway, so yay! I'm gonna miss you guys, though. I really miss this, guys. It's one of those things. When I used to take time off as a traffic reporter, I couldn't hardly turn the radio on and hear somebody else doing my job because I'm very possessive. Well, it's just a radio thing. When you are in the media, you're super possessive of the airspace that you have, and because it's an extremely competitive field, and so you're just like, well, they're doing a pretty good job. I better get back
so
in
hard
there.
at it. It's like a child, like a second.
You really? Well, see, when I had my kids, Bill Jones is in the house. We've been he's been under the weather. I've had reached out to him a couple of times to bring him in and couldn't make it. So before I take a week off, I thought, well, I got to get you in here for a minute, just say hi. But and you're doing better, right?
Yeah.
Good deal. Keep praying for this man. We got to get him well. But I just like I said, I wanted to make sure and get you in here before I took some time off. But I'm super excited about it. I don't take a lot of time off. When I had my kids, Bill, on radio, number one, my twins were literally born on the radio. You remember Les Jameson?
Yeah.
You remember Les Jameson?
Oh yeah.
So
is he alive?
He's passed away.
Oh,
no,
okay.
he passed away not long after he retired too. It just broke my heart. But he called me on the air. He was doing a talk show, and it was 30 minutes before Caleb was born because I had twins and they were born 30 minutes apart. So probably about 30 minutes before Caleb made his appearance, I get a phone call in the hospital room. Les Jameson, hey, this is Les LaVern. You're on the air with me. I wish I had a recording of that because it was just so funny. And it was like Grand Central Station. My sister was there. I'll never forget it. And it was a party because it was at Baptist Hospital, and they were the first hospital to come in and have the birthing suites and this big, elaborate thing. And they just rolled out the red carpet for us. And the rumor was that I was in the same room that Garth Brooks' kids were born in or something silly like that, And nonetheless, it was a party. But we were on the radio just right. I do have the call where my husband was talking to somebody and gave they're here, Caleb and Jeremiah, and gave the weights on the air. So I've got that recording. Nowadays we have recordings of everything, but nonetheless, yeah. And I only took 2 weeks off with every one of my kids because I worked out of my house. I worked out of a home studio.
Yeah.
And again, when you're on in media and you just don't want to be gone long because somebody will come in and do it just as well as you and maybe cheaper, And anyway, hi y'all, Bill's in the house, and
I was thinking the other day, I'm glad I'm not a woman have to have a child. I would just probably say no children.
Well, it's one of those. Oh, it's just the best. And I have. I'm so old. It's so funny. I walked into the staff meeting yesterday. We had at Greenbrier, and one of my sweet young friends. She's still in her 20s, and she's a teacher. She's fabulous, Lauren Gray, Miss Gray. She's our special needs teacher, and I'm just sitting there freezing, and she goes. And she's in short sleeves. She goes, "Why are you so cold?" I said, "Because I'm 61 and I have bad circulation." But, as the old woman, they'll come to me and they're pregnant. And they're like, "Yeah, I'm about to have my first kid. You got any advice for me?" And I'm like, "Quit listening to everybody and just do it. It'll be fine." Because people scare you half to death,
Oh yeah.
And you don't think about it. When you're in the middle of it, you really don't think about it. Just have the baby. Don't let everybody freak you out. And, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So, oh, well. Bill Jones is in the house.
I remember when I was born.
Well, I don't think so.
I don't know why.
But, and honestly, now that my youngest is 28, my twins are 32, about to be 33. For all of y'all who remember them being born on radio, how does that make you feel? Super old? Me too.
I told somebody the other day, when I was born in a log cabin, which I helped my father build.
You're funny, you goofy.
But
that's great.
Nobody laughs at that.
Well, I think it's funny. Well, Bill Jones is somebody that he just knows the history of this county. You were born here. You've been raised here. I mean, this is home, and I just
a lot of activities around we can do around here. It's
and
unusual county.
That's one thing I wanted to ask you because I'm off next week, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying home, and I've got a lot of things I need to get done, and I just need to take a breath. But I've got a lot of things I want to do at my house. But I thought, one day I think I would kind of like to just have like go somewhere that I haven't been that's local. And I said, what would you recommend that if something I haven't seen, what should I go see?
Port Royal.
And that's what I was thinking.
It's one of the smallest parks in Tennessee, but it has more significance to us than any place else. It's a lot of interesting information at Port Royal. It used to be a central point of shipping from Tobacco going down river because that's where the Sulphur Fork and Red River meet.
Okay.
And they go into the Cumberland River down in Clarksville, and they would ship tobacco on boats all the way down to New Orleans from here. Only a third of them would get, I think, either 25% and a third would get robbed on the way, but it was a significant port at one time called Port Royal. And there's a guide there that'll tell you all about it. They had a bridge that collapsed twice down there. They had one main bridge that collapsed, and they built another one that collapsed the first day they finished it. And
I feel them. We put two bridges on our creek.
That old wood bridge down there still, but they have a concrete bridge over there now. But it's be an interesting place to go to. And there's a black church is still in existence that was there in the early 1800s.
Really?
Yeah, they even had a special.
Early 1800s or early 1900s?
They were 1800s.
Really?
The church was there.
So that was back during slavery still. Yeah, because I mean, you hear
they Bible they had down there
wow.
that they would revamp the Bible where it didn't mention slavery in the Bible.
So they would mark, okay.
And they used to use it down there. I've got a copy of it, I think, somewhere. But it's a lot of interesting stuff about Port Royal. I think they even considered it the capital of Tennessee one time. Never did do it, but I think it was considered. But I may be wrong on that because it was about 6 different places that was the capital of Tennessee at one time.
Okay, so how do I get there? I mean, I'm sure I can Google it, but is it just
it's off the main road? It's right on the line of Robinson County, Montgomery County.
Okay, because I've not been. I've seen the signs, but I haven't been.
When you go down through Adams, you can get on the Port Royal Road, and you'll go right down to it.
Okay.
And off of 76, Highway 76.
I've heard they found that there's a cave there, and they found some cave drawings.
I don't know about that. I hadn't heard about it.
And see, and I find that fascinating. And I was trying to think of we're always trying to come up with interesting things for your kids to do at school for field trips. And I'm not doing this, but I thought this might be kind of cool. I'm going to teach. I haven't taught the standard yet on the history of audio video, but I'm going back to the beginning because to me, you have to, when you look at the way we communicate now, it's the desire to communicate and share your thoughts is the foundation for everything we do communication wise. Audio video began with let's leave something for people. And I think you can go all the way back to the cave drawings and things like that. People wanted to leave a record. And that's what audio video now is. And I think that's something interesting. It's a tie-in that I want to make. And I thought, well, man, we could take the kids down to Port Royal because I've heard.
To me about caves, some of them you have to go out in a pond or a lake or a large body of water, go underwater, go down, find the opening, crawl, swim up in that opening, and then you come up to this opening, and there's cave drawings in there.
Yeah.
How did they do that?
Well, you figure
It
they didn't
must
have
not
games.
Been water there before or something. But anyway,
Yeah.
these guys find this stuff. It's just fascinating.
Well, and if you're somebody that's real comfortable in the water, and when I was younger,
In the dark too.
well, when I was younger, I would swim in all kinds of things. And if the sun is shining above you and you look and you kind of see a place where you think, I would be pretty adventurous in the water. So I could see people, back in the day when we didn't have our phones and our games and all the distractions to get curious. Of course, some people got killed doing stuff like that, but I can totally see how people they would get curious and they would get, they're a little bored. It's like, let's go see what's over here. And too, like you said, water might not have been up in those areas.
Yeah.
True. Because
I can imagine by taking that much of a risk, diving down, not knowing there's anything opening down there and going in this cave underwater and holding your breath.
Mm-hmm. Well, they might have accidentally.
That's brave.
They might have accidentally done it too. But now there's spelunkers that do that kind of stuff all the time now. But they usually have some kind of a breathing apparatus.
Yeah.
They go in with tanks or some kind of scuba gear or something like that. But I would, if I were younger, I would be fascinated to do some of that stuff because I'm fascinated by history. And when we brought Bill in, I said, "What do you want to talk about?" And I was curious. I wanted his recommendations on where I should go next week. So Port Royal, we're coming to see you. And we also, tomorrow is March 15th. And March 15th is?
Ides of March.
Ides of March.
Who died on the Ides of March?
Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
And so I love ancient history. And the reason I love ancient history is because of the biblical studies that I do. Well, the Ray Vanderlaan, one of the guys who study his material, you can get it with So That the World May Know, is through Focus on the Family, and love his work. But I was introduced to him through Marty Solomon, several other people that have pointed me to him. Gay Rushing, local friend that just raves about him. John Hagen, they have all told me about him. And so I started checking out his stuff, and he has a lesson, and you can find it online, the Clash of Kingdoms, I think it's called, where he kind of unpacks the assassination of Julius Caesar beautifully.
Oh, that would be interesting.
And so I watched that, and that it's been a while ago, but I've always been, curious. I've always been interested in the Greco-Roman stuff and the change.
It interests me too. The way they lived and everything, and their habits and their it falls right into the Bible because it'll tell you some of the ways that they did, which explains some of the things said and what they did in the Bible.
The hermeneutics of it all, that's that word.
Had so many gods too,
they had everything. Well, and it's like for the Roman Empire, the things we read in Revelations about the 24 priests. Well, there were 24 sanctioned religions in Rome, but they were all pagan. None of them were our God. But wasn't the Jewish God, wasn't Jesus or God. So, but they had 24 the depiction of the 24 priests, that's what it's talking about, because the writings of John in Revelation, what I have studied, it's not talking about Russia and all the crazy. Everybody tries to theorize what it is. Go and listen to the Bama podcast in the last little bit where he talks about the end of season 4. The last probably 15 podcast, he unpacks it, and it's just amazing to me. And it's something, it touches on some of the things I've been taught my entire life. I've never been taught that Revelation in and of itself is about us. I mean, it's about all of us. It's about all of us restoring the kingdom to what God started it as in the beginning. It's about that restoration, and of course that new heaven and new. I mean, it's us, yes, but all this stuff about the mark of the beast and all of those things. It was talking about Rome. It was talking about in the archaeological Bible that Zondervan put out. There's a quote that says John wrote a dirge. How do you say that? Dirge to the Empire of Rome at a time when Rome was. They're like, "Are you crazy?" But that's what it was, and it's fascinating to me because when you understand, when you look at it, and you can't really understand it without knowing a little bit about Rome and the things that were going on, and so. Ray Vanderlaan unpacks this entire thing called Clash of Kingdoms, and he talks about how that, Julius Caesar came in. He had this great victory in Gaul. He had been victorious in this big battle, and he comes in. It's time for me to be emperor, and he wants to be emperor. And he had some support through Octavius, his adopted son, and Mark Antony. They both supported him. Well, the people who but they were a republic. And so you had Cassius and Brutus were the instigators of saying, no, we don't want you to be emperor. We want to stay a republic. And so they were the spearheads in assassinating him. And so they took him out. Yeah. And so they took him out. And then Octavius and Mark Antony are like, no, we still want to be an empire. And so you've got Cassius and Brutus get their armies. Mark Antony and Octavius get their armies, and they battle it out. And of course, Octavius and Mark Antony win and defeat and then they become an empire. And it's like, well, who's going to sit on the throne? And Mark Antony, what's fascinating, people don't understand Mark Antony's connection to Cleopatra because, the whole thing. Mark Antony is the one who set Herod in charge of the area of Israel. He was the one who helped put him in power there. Mm-hmm. Well, Cleopatra had an affair with Julius Caesar prior to her affair with Mark Antony.
Sounds like a movie, doesn't it?
I'm telling you, and it's all true. Yeah. And so they had a kid that Julius Caesar would never acknowledge. She was a crazy person, man. Cleopatra was. And so they had a kid, and his name was Caesarion, and it was like she named
Caesarion.
Yes, it was like Caesar with ION on the end of it, but she named him for Caesar, right? And he ended up helping her rule.
Is that where
Egypt.
Caesarean birth came from?
I don't know, but I know the name sounds like Caesarion. But anyway, so his name he was kind of named for it, but Julius never would acknowledge him. So once they had defeated Cassius and Brutus, and they, we're not going to be a republic anymore. We're going to be an empire. So you got Octavius, who is the adopted son of Julius Caesar, and Mark Antony start having problems. They'd been, friends at first. And so then they start going to battle because Mark Antony's hooked up with Cleopatra. They've got 3 kids. Mark Antony had 3 kids with Cleopatra. And he's like, her oldest son is actually the true heir to Julius Caesar. And so he wanted Caesarion to be the emperor. And so they went to battle, and of course Octavius won. And Mark Antony, and seeing that they were about to get defeated, and Cleopatra committed suicide because they didn't want to be taken prisoner. And so Octavius, he becomes Caesar Augustus and is the first emperor.
You're way over my head.
But I'm telling you, it's fascinating. But it all started the Ides of March. And we get the assassination of Julius Caesar in the Shakespearean play.
We're
but
one
we
day
don't,
away.
huh?
We're one day
It's
away.
tomorrow, y'all. And so I had my kids. We wrote like a little satirical play about it, and my kids acted it out, and it's fabulous. And we did it in front of a green screen, and it's just silliness and fun. And we kind of acted it out, and so it's really fun. But when we ended with, and it all began with the Ides of March, and so we'll probably release one or two of them and let y'all see it. I mean, it's very sophomoric and fun, but I mean these are high school students. But anyway, it's fun. But that's the Ides of March, y'all. And I was saying the interesting thing is, it was setting up for when the time had fully come for Christ to come. And there's a quote, and I can't remember who it's attributed to, but it says, this was the rise of the empire of Rome, and they wanted to be deity. These emperors wanted to be considered gods. And Octavius, there was a Caesar's comet. Whenever Caesar, right about the time Caesar was assassinated, and he said, that was my father going to his rightful place on the throne, and he set himself up. I mean, it gets deep, but man, it's fascinating. But that was the rise of the men wanting to be counted as deity. And there was a quote that says, when man became a god, God became a man. And it's fascinating stuff. But anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know.
Well,
if I'm getting over Bill's head, I'm like, everybody else is going, shut up,
to a place to
LaVern.
visit.
Huh?
Back to a place to visit.
I know, but that's the Ides of March, guys. Go watch Ray Vanderlaan, The Clash of Kingdoms. Oh, breathtaking. Breathtaking. It is so, you need to go see that. I'll link it. I'll put it up in the comments. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But anyway. Okay, back to something to visit. Completely change the subject here.
Well, what I'll go to right now, I'd go to Ridgetop Museum. You know, it's fascinating to me about how they dug the tunnel through underneath Ridgetop, the Baker Station, Baker Hill. And I was just reading about trains the other day and wrecks. They had so many train wrecks around 1800s, middle 1800s, late 1800s, around that area, because they had this big hill they had to go up, and they had an engine there that would, when a train came up, they'd attach to this, the other engine would pull it up because it was so steep they couldn't. Many train fell off the track or ran off the track in that area, killing people and damaging boxcars. But anyway,
I had no idea.
In fact, I remember I was reading about B.F. Meyer Furniture Store in Goodlettsville. They had a manufacturing location in Adams, and they would ship stuff down from Adams, pieces of furniture, down to Goodlettsville for their store because they couldn't ship it up. It cost more to send it up, so they made a manufacturer up there to send it down. But anyway, it's interesting with that tunnel. In around 1900, they built this tunnel. And what they did, they started on one end and started on the other end and started with a big hole right in the middle. And they dug that hole down and then went out. And it's amazing how they would know exactly where to be. And there were people that fell in the hole and died.
Oh, good land.
And
Yeah.
all kinds. They had a lot of laborers, hundreds of people working, digging. And that is all at that museum up in Ridgetop.
Oh, that's another great place to go. You know, my friend Ginger, she has a home that sits on above the tunnel.
Yeah.
And boy, when trains come through there, it's like, what was that? You get used to it.
There.
But yeah. But her house is right there. But she's got this amazing, beautiful. I mean, it's like you're in the Smoky Mountains. It is spectacular. That's why people from Nashville, that was a resort. Ridgetop was kind of the resort place to go because you could get up on the ridge and it was cooler,
people
right?
From Nashville came out because they thought it was cooler. It was there than Nashville.
Yeah, and but that's neat. But Ginger's home is up there, and it's spectacular.
I rode when I was a
beautiful.
kid through a train through the tunnel.
Did you?
Another
Cool.
friend of myself who's still alive, we went down to Tullahoma to visit some of his kin people, and we got on the train. And we were about probably 13, 14 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I just wonder how many people are left around here that's ever been on a train going through the tunnel. Probably not many.
Where did you board the train?
Springfield.
Here at the depot?
Yeah. There's a lot of people that rode the train to Nashville to work.
Really?
Back in my time, in the 50s, people went to Nashville on the train.
That is interesting. And so the depot restaurant, was that the depot actually?
No. That. Oh, it's been several things. I forget. It was a grocery store I can remember in the '60s.
Well, where's the building that was the actual
Well, it's
train
been
depot?
torn down. It's where the
Okay.
little. It's across the tracks.
So, but it's right there where the
Yeah,
depot
well,
restaurant
yeah,
is, and
yeah,
that's of
it's
course the
down
name and stuff.
down
And
in
I think they've got pictures hanging up in the restaurant. I need to go in there and
When
take
I
a
was a
look.
kid, there was a train wreck down there on Cheatham Street. There was 28 or 38 cars that wrecked, and it was fascinating to go see because all these cars piled up. And there were a lot of train wrecks around that time. There's another train wreck I can remember in '69 that hit a tanker truck of gasoline right there where Southside is. And it was 8,000 gallons of gasoline running down Main Street, South Main Street, running down. I couldn't believe it didn't explode, and catch fire, but it didn't. And in 1960 was the big train wreck where all the cars, but there was another time in the 68, 7 or something like that, that a train hit a garbage truck and took out the side of the building where Southside is. You'll see the empty lot there where the building was when the train hit the garbage truck and killed the garbage truck driver. It wiped out that side of the building. And there's a lot more train wrecks used to be than it is now. But it's interesting to see, study about the trains, because now I go to the Kiwanis Club at noon on Tuesdays, and there's always one or two trains that come through while we're sitting there. Billy Paul Carneal, who studies trains and the history, tells me there's 24 trains a day come through here. I think it's more than that because they're very, very long. But anyway, trains, and they have a right of way through there. Although, Southside and Depot and all of them, Dean Oil, they all pay royalties to L&N because they're on their right of way through there, and that's been like that for a long time. Over 80 years, I know, and they've been doing that, and it's just really interesting to see. And the train came through in 1859 when they first started coming through here, and that brought a lot of business and a lot of. I remember the first fair. I don't remember, but I read about the first fair that we had here. People came in from Nashville on the train, and one guy brought a hot air balloon.
Oh, that is cool.
In the fair was held out south of the tracks. I can't remember the street out there that it was on, but they they sent up this hot air balloon as a example, and they tethered it with a rope so it couldn't go up so high.
People could just go up
They
in
would
the air.
get
Yeah.
people to go up in it, and
Right.
they were afraid of it. And of course, this one guy, they had a little. Of course, they didn't have electricity, didn't have farm equipment, except it didn't have anything running on gas or anything. It was just farm equipment they showed. But they were trying to get somebody to go up in it, and right beside where they were located was this Woodard whiskey display. Woodard made whiskey it shipped all over the world at that time. And this guy, he was taking too many samples, and he got drunk, and he decided he's going to go up in that balloon. So he got in a basket and went up, and of course the rope went out, and the wind blew him into a tree, and he fell out and fell on the ground and knocked him out. And they ran over there and trying to revive him, and they
my
said,
word.
well, give him some whiskey. They went over and got some whiskey and poured it down his throat, and that woke him up.
That revived him. That's hysterical.
But it was brought in on a train.
That
And
is
next
so
year they did the
funny.
same thing, brought in on a train, the balloon. And people, if you go down South Main, you'll see some of the old houses that have metal stairways or brick stairways going up the side of the house, because back then they didn't have hotels and motels, so people would stay in people's houses. So when they had fairs and things like that, people came to town. And even back in the 1950s, they did the same thing. The 41 came through here. People would rent their houses out to people staying overnight. So they had these apartments built on the houses, and the houses are gradually being torn down on South Main. But there's 2 or 3 left still with those stairways.
The first Airbnbs.
All right.
Yeah.
And
Before
down
it
on
was a
North
thing.
Main, there was Lisa DiVaggio. What's her name? Lisa, whatever.
Yes.
She has a big house with white columns
You're
on
talking about Lisa Arnold.
it. Arnold, yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
thinking
But
somebody
her
else.
maiden name is something with a
and
D.
that was a place people stopped and stayed. They rented out rooms in that
Oh,
house.
cool. That's a cool house.
Used to have it's some of my kinfolk. They
Yeah.
lived there, and had a little sign in the yard, about being not a B&B, they didn't call it, but it was a
Yeah.
place you could stay at overnight when you're coming through town.
How
'Cause
cool.
41 came through Springfield. It was a
Yeah.
main highway and didn't have, they actually talked them out of doing it through Clarksville, and they came through here. And then later they got 31 bypass and came through Clarksville. They did, and it turned into a B. 41, well, 41, I think it was. 41A, it turned out to be a lot of accidents and things like that. But anyway, we're getting way off.
No, but I'll tell you, we're out of time because it's 7:30. Any
Yeah,
parting thoughts?
yeah.
Because I'm out next week, so we'll
Take a
we'll
look.
get you back
There's
in as
lots
soon as
of
I get back.
places in
Okay.
Springfield. I mean, Robinson County.
Okay.
Just there's people promoting it all the time on Facebook and places. So just look for it. But those two places are,
Okay.
you could spend some time.
Fort
there.
Royal
gonna
and
be-
Ridgetop Museum.
Fort Royal's got a guy there, a guide. They'll
Yeah.
tell you all about it. There's a building there. It's been there ever since, and they have a club there. What do they call it? Shriners, not Shriners. Whatever it is that they meet there. What do they call it? My mind's blank.
Just a
all of
community
sudden.
club or
No, it's like
Kiwanis,
like the
Rotary. or-
Shriner thing.
Okay.
Mason.
Mason.
Mason's all
Oh,
that.
okay.
They still have that there,
Okay.
and in that meeting there, but they're probably going to redo that sometime, I would think. And,
Okay.
But it's an interesting place to go to and look at. If you hadn't been anywhere, that's
Well, and I mean that's the thing. We always in the areas that you live, you never visit them. You never visit the
you live here, you
sites.
hadn't done it,
So we're going to do Port Royal, and you have a great week, and I'll get you when I get back from spring break, and we'll get you in here, and you just keep getting well, rest,
Yeah.
get better.
hope-
Bill Jones, if you have history questions, he's your guy. Hook up, just go and talk to him, and he can tell you pretty much anything. I haven't found out too much that he doesn't know about. We're going to let Sherry come on in here. Sherry Martell is going to be joining us next. But while she's getting comfortable, I do want to tell you what I was mentioning with the Ray Vanderlaan series. I just put a link up on the comments on the show if you want to go check that out because it is fascinating. Ides of March. I know it gets really deep, but it's fun history. Come on in, Sherry, sit down. But I'm going to talk about one of our sponsors before we visit with Sherry. I want to talk about Katie Did It Designs, my friend Katie Myers, and it's so fun. I just love her and Perry. I talk about Perry on Tuesdays because he has got Mr. Perry's music, of course, the house that rocks right there on 41. But right now we want to talk about how he is also a Katie doer. He goes out in the in the mornings, he's out helping her do the projects for Katie Did It. They're so entrepreneurial. I love them. And I love that they're living their dream and they're having so much fun. All you gotta do is go check out social media and their stuff and you just see these big smiles and all these fun things that they're doing. But if you're needing some help in your home and, maybe you're like me and you have terrible design taste, I joke around that my house looks like Dr. Seuss decorated. It really does. But I'm kind of eclectic. I'm a little eccentric. And so, she can take those things and bring them into a design that I can live with and that people won't go, what? And so that'll be a little bit more user friendly, or maybe you're getting your place ready to put it on the market to sell. We're going to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards here in a minute. But if you're, getting ready for a sale or something like that, you need somebody to come in that's going to look at your place objectively and say, here's what you need to do. And you can go on Katie Did It Designs, and Katie with a Y, Katie Did It Designs with an S, and you can see her before and after pictures where she's gone into a room and is like, okay, here's what we started with and here's what we brought. And she's expert at working with what you already have. I love to use the example. She said one lady, she came in and said, what are your favorite colors? And she goes, all of them. And so they had to, had to bring all of them in. I'm kind of that way too. I like a lot of color. So whatever it is that you're wanting to do, if you're wanting a do-it-yourself package, she can come in and help you kind of set all that up, give you all the links and all the connections that you need to do that. If you want somebody to do it start to finish, she's got folks like, Perry coming in and being her Katie doer and getting things done at Katie Did It. They can do it start to finish and you never have to even touch it. Or maybe you just need a consultation. Maybe you just need somebody to come in and do color recommendations and design layouts and things like that. She can fit the package to meet your needs very specifically. She does it all. She's a great friend and does great work. Katie Did It Designs. Katie Did It Designs. Again, it's Katie with a Y. Did It Designs. Designs with an S. Reach out to them and reach out to her. And she has a website as well, katiediditdesigns.com. Phone number 615-525-5506, 615-525-5506. 888-858-5506. Always, when you contact my sponsors, please let them know U-Turn sent you. And as we get back into the show right now, we're going to talk with Miss Sherry. She's in. The folks from United Way, my friends, and they said, well, can we see Sherry? And I said, well, sure you can. How are you doing, Sherry? You're going to have to come on into that microphone.
Doing great. Thank you very much.
It's so good to have you here. And you are with our food bank.
Yes, United Ministries Food Bank of Robertson County.
And oh my goodness, what a wonderful work you do.
Well, thank you very much.
How long have y'all been in existence?
Since 1995.
Oh, wow.
So we've been around a while.
Yes, you have. And so how does it work? I mean, if somebody, and this is, man, the economy and what it is, I work with a food bank up in Nashville with our benevolent center at the Madison Church of Christ, and we work with Second Harvest Food Bank and all of that. So I've worked in that world. That's what I was doing before I started teaching full time, and was working in some part with that. As far as so I get what you're doing.
Right.
And there's a great need is what I'm trying to say. I can't get my words out today. There's a great need, and there's a greater need than there has been in a while. And we saw it during COVID.
Correct.
And it hasn't really calmed down, maybe a little bit, but I think with food prices, what they are, I don't know. I'm seeing, we seem to be seeing it just really kind of more than ever.
Well, when you go to the grocery
more than ever need.
Yeah, when you go to the grocery store and whatever you buy, it's a lot more than what you were paying, this time last year.
Oh yeah.
And for people to, try to put food on the table and have it constantly there for their family, it's becoming harder every week.
Yeah.
One of the things that we do is we allow people to come in once a month. They have to be from Robertson County. We are partnered with Second Harvest, and we get most of our main supply of food comes through Second Harvest. A lot of people, they look at it and think that all the food comes to us free. Well, it doesn't. We get USDA food, which is what the government supplies us with, which Second Harvest is the transporter of that. And then they also give us a lot of food, but we also purchase food. And a lot of people don't realize that's why, it's important for us to have the funding that we need in order to supplement what they're getting for free from Second Harvest and from the USDA. We spend an average of $3,000 to $4,000 a month just to supplement, to try to make sure that the households that are receiving our foods are able to at least have maybe 4 or 5 days of food through the month. It's become increasingly harder because a lot of the food that they've been receiving has, the supply chain is sort of slowing down quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the people that are probably receiving our food are saying, it's just the same thing every month, but, we're getting what we can.
Exactly.
And, Second Harvest has been really good to us. We have, couldn't do this without their help. United Way has been a good supporter of the ministry. So, it takes a village. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It always takes a village. So, I tell people we'll take garden items. Like, say, for example, right now, it won't be long, we'll be putting those gardens out. Bring in right now we're getting turnips from a farm down close to I-24. And we'll take just about anything that people will eat. And one of the things that we do see a need for is fresh vegetables. Because a lot of people where they're shopping, they don't have the option of fresh vegetables a lot of times. So that's important. As far as what we do, we allow people to come in once a month. Like I said, they have to be residents of Robertson County. We're sort of unique because we've got Kentucky people who want to come in sometimes, Sumner County, Cheatham, and also Davidson. So we do require that you have, a legitimate address here in Robertson County. Monthly, they can come in. We break it down. We don't have a restriction on what they can get, but like on the USDA part, they have to sign off on that. There's regulations, and they can only make so much. But if you're on SNAP, then you automatically qualify. We don't want to be the food police. We want to be the food giver.
Yes.
So, and that's an important thing for people to remember. And I know, like on a lot of times when we'll have people coming in that, are not citizens of the country. And if they have any kind of an ID, we want to see their ID, but we'll ask them, to bring in a bill so that we can, like an electric bill that shows that they are actually living in Robertson County, so that, we're trying to be fair to everyone. We want to make sure that anybody that comes in has the opportunity to receive food.
And this sounds quite familiar for all my friends up at Madison Church of Christ and the Benevolent Center there. It's exactly the same thing. So I'm quite familiar with what you do, and the USDA food. It's not that we want to make you sign. It is for us to get that. We have to comply with all of these things, and then you have the things where you can purchase at a discount. Our benevolence minister Terry Ashley, he would say, it's great to do food drives and say, okay, let's everybody bring peanut butter to church. He says, but the thing is, if you will give me money, I can go buy a whole lot more peanut butter than you can through Second Harvest when it's available. And that's the thing. It sure has changed. I mean, 5-6 years ago, good land, the surplus was crazy. During COVID,
Right.
man, what they were bringing us at the Benevolent Center blew my mind. They had a ton of stuff coming. And now it is really, it's breathtaking, the difference in what we're getting in these food distribution centers than what we used to. And so everything you're saying sounds quite familiar to me. And I'm just thrilled that we have this resource here in Robertson County.
It's been a very good thing for the county, because the need is great. We have a lot of people that come in that yes, they might have a job, but they've got 3 kids at home, and there's 5 of them living in a house, and both of them are working, and they still can't make the ends meet.
Yeah, because
because we're not a wealthy county, and a lot of people do struggle.
Yeah.
We have a lot of really good industry in town that support a lot of the families. But when you start looking at what they're having to pay for gas and the food at the store, it becomes a lot harder for them to put that full meal on the table every night.
Well, especially with what a lot of them are not homeowners. They are renting their property, and rental property has gone through the roof in this area, and it's not going to come back down. So the affordable living is housing is affordable housing is just something that is just a huge issue here, and that's put a bigger bind on the folks that you guys serve.
Absolutely.
So we have, if somebody's coming, number one, this is the same thing, because we up at our Benevolent Center, we have people coming in from out of we serve Davidson County. We serve actually the Madison area, not just Davidson County. We serve we have a particular area that for the USDA stuff we have to serve, and so we have those particulars. We have people come in from out of county all the time, and we try to do the best we can. Don't want to turn anybody away, give them non-USDA foods, all those things. But to get the full benefit of what you guys offer, they have to bring an ID and some kind of a bill saying that they are a resident of Robertson County. But what are your hours? When are you guys operating?
We're there on Monday through Thursday from 10 to 1:30.
Okay.
And I have a situation sometimes where Tiffany, like at United Way, will call and say, I've got a family in town that needs something, and it might be a Saturday or Sunday, and we try to accommodate people according to what their needs are. It's like you say, our ministry is to help feed the people in Robertson County, and that's our main goal. We're not trying to make it hard or difficult for anybody to receive food. We want to make sure that they have something on their table at night, so that they have that meal. I know that there's a lot of different boxes around town that have food even for the homeless people.
Right.
So I've been trying to help keep during the winter months, we've with our Father's House, they've got one of the help boxes sitting out front. So we've tried to make sure that there's been food sitting out for the people
non-perishables, Vienna sausages, those kinds of things that they can grab and go. Things
Absolutely.
that are not perishable that you can put out like that.
Right. Yeah. Just
Protein bars. Yeah.
Just items, just to give them something.
Yeah.
Instead of because I know that even the homeless people, they're struggling too.
Yeah.
They're it's just really hard to think about our country and the people that are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Just to make a meal for a day.
Mm-hmm. And that we can't let people go hungry. We just
No.
can't. You just can't. I mean, that's a basic need, and we just can't. And so it's like, and I kind of there's when this is going to not make a lot of sense when I first start saying this, but I think you'll get where I'm going when I finish. But when Narcan first came on the scene to save, we were all trained to use Narcan when it first came out because we deal with a lot of homeless people, and it became one of those things. It's a lot of law enforcement were saying, well, it's kind of become an enabler, and people who would train us for Narcan say, you know what it's doing? It's helping keep addicts alive until they realize they want to live.
That's true.
And that's the same thing that happens with food. And you've got a lot of people out there. I was driving through a part of Nashville the other day, and I saw this man and woman that just broke my heart because they were just pitiful. And you just don't know what to do. But the one thing you can do is you can give them a pack of crackers, and
Yes.
help them stay alive until they realize they want to live. And like I said, I got that from the Narcan trainers, but that's it. Stop trying to be like, well, they this or that. Stop. Just keep them alive until they realize they want to live.
Absolutely. And we have
Period.
we have some of the homeless people that come to our door, and we give them what we call a helper bag. They
Yes.
can't take things home to cook because they
Yes.
have no way of actually cooking a lot of times.
Yep.
So we keep a good supply of pop top cans
Yeah.
and crackers and like you say, the protein bars and things of that nature that we can put in a helper bag that at least gives them some nourishment for a few days.
We call them go bags up
Go
at
bags.
Madison. We keep them too, because our church is at Gallatin OHB, and we're now inner city. I mean, that used to be the suburbs of Nashville. No, it's an inner city area now, and we have a huge homeless population. Our benevolence minister Terry Ashley, we love you, brother. He was a police officer. He's a retired police officer. He's so uniquely qualified to do that job, and but we have go bags that we keep everywhere, all over campus, because you have homeless people that come knocking on the door because they know it's a resource for them, and keep them alive until they realize they want to live. And I've got friends in the homeless community. We had one guy named Happy. We call him. He was kind of our Otis Campbell. He's passed away, but he had an alcohol issue. But when you know the man's story, him and his brother, his brother's still out there, I think. But since I'm not there full time anymore, I've kind of lost track of him. But after Happy died, but him and his brother were like 14, 15 years old, and their mother remarried, and their stepfather didn't like them, kicked them out of the house, and they lived on the street until the day. I mean, Happy, that's the only home Happy had was the homeless community, and loved him to pieces. I mean, but just he was our Otis Campbell, and there's some amazing people out there, guys. You just don't know their story, and their story doesn't really matter. Just love on them. Just be the love of Jesus. Period.
And we have that here in town.
Yeah,
we
for
have
sure.
people that,
Oh yeah.
Circumstances
Yeah.
beyond their control sometimes happen, and they end up out on the street.
And beyond their control, I praise the Lord. I don't have addiction issues other than I just really like food, but I don't have the thing where I took hydrocodone or whatever and instantly got addicted. People do that. That happens.
Absolutely.
That happens. We've seen it happen to people, and it's just breathtaking. And so, praise the Lord, I've never had to deal with that. So many have. And so you're like, well, they're addicted. Well, a lot of the times it's really not their fault. They didn't go seeking it out. They had a prescription that was highly addictive, and they didn't know it, and they can't, they're having a hard time. And we just be Jesus, y'all. That's what y'all are doing. And I appreciate y'all so much.
Yeah. And it's amazing that the community help and the support that our ministry also gets. We receive food. They have test kitchens at Electrolux, and they give us. I think last year, or the year before, they gave us like 10,000 pounds of food.
That's
And
wonderful.
that's anything from chicken wings to biscuits.
Yeah.
We never know what we're going to get, but we pick up from them a couple of times a week.
That's wonderful.
We've got all the Dollar General stores. They don't give us a lot. They're just giving us a little bit right now, but as time passes, hopefully they'll give us more. We pick up from Papa John's. We pick up
Yes.
from Aldi's. We pick up from Chick-fil-A now, and I think it's in the works that we'll start picking up from Big Lots.
Okay.
So we do have, and let me tell you, one of our bigger supporters too is Kroger. We pick up
Yes.
3 or 4 times a week from Kroger, and they give us deli and bread, and we pass that along to people when they come in. So
I got to tell you something. You'll appreciate this. Whenever I was working at the church for a couple of years, one of my big things that I was doing, my husband and I, we were working with newcomers to the country from Egypt, and we were teaching English second language. Well, a lot of them were just getting to America, and because they were coming in through the immigration, they got nothing. They were not eligible for any benefit, any help whatsoever. And so they were just barely hanging on, a lot of them. And so we would get them food from the benevolence center and take it to them. And I had one of them one time, can you bring me something that's not old? Because we would have crackers that were at the expiration date. Maybe I'd give them crackers in March that expired in January. Well, that was a Best Buy date.
yes.
And I had to explain to them how careful we are here in America, and our Best Buy dates, they're still good, usually for about a year after that Best Buy date. But that's how you get stuff. What she's talking about with the things that she gets from Big Lots in the stores, they have to pull them off the shelf after the Best Buy date, but they're still good.
Absolutely.
And that's what you get. But my Egyptian friends, can you bring me something that's not old? Because the meat even would be frozen, but it would be dated a month before. And I'm like, well, they froze it at that date.
Right. We don't give any type of meat away
No.
that's not frozen. And most
Yes.
of it is the date's expired. As far as
Yeah.
looking at it, it
Yeah.
might have been a February or it could have been a January,
Yeah.
and we're giving out in March. But when Second Harvest, and that's the ones that go to the
Yes.
grocery stores, and it's frozen at the grocery store. It's frozen when they get it at Second Harvest, and we keep it frozen. We never
Yes.
allow meat to thaw out,
Yeah.
so that you can take advantage of it.
Yes.
And, I have people, we try to check the cans, but, sometimes they get away from us, but we try to check the expiration dates. But like green beans will last 3 years if they're in
After
a
the
can.
expiration
Right.
date. Yes.
The
Yeah.
one thing that we watch really closely is anything that has tomato in it.
Yeah.
But all like your corns and beans and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, just because the date on it is a little bit old, that doesn't mean the product inside is bad. It just
Mm-hmm.
means that they have to keep food moving. They
Mm-hmm.
can't just let it sit there. They've got to keep it moving. So, and we try to do that same thing. We try to rotate things out. But I know I had a lady one time tell me, like you say, they come back and they say, well, the meat I got was 2 months old, and I said, well, but it's been frozen.
Yes.
So don't worry about it. If
Yeah.
if it thaws out and it doesn't smell right, throw it away.
That's what I tell everybody. I say, I think probably the biggest thing that would probably be lunch meat a lot of the times that I would have, because I would use the same thing. We would put together Meals on Wheels, and so I would thaw out some lunch meat, and if it just even hinted at not being good, I'd toss it. I wouldn't even take a chance on it, but I would thaw it out, make the sandwiches, and we'd send them out with all the volunteers. I say, no. These all volunteers that worked and did all this stuff, and you guys are a full volunteer ministry.
Yes, we're
Completely.
nobody's on the payroll. Everybody's a volunteer.
Let me do an ad, and I want you to unpack exactly where you are, how you're funded, and all that. Is COPE one of your funding partners? Okay, I thought y'all were connected to COPE for some reason, but you're right there near them.
We're beside them, yes, but
That's
we're not.
why I was
we're not
thinking y'all were
affiliated with them.
connected. Okay,
Yeah.
because COPE is another one, guys, that is fully volunteer. That's what I love about. We have people that are employed at our benevolence center. We have a benevolence minister. He is a paid staff. I was a paid staff member, but I would tell people they'd come in and they'd start fussing at our volunteers, and I'd say, if you want to fuss at somebody, come talk to me or Terry, because these people are here just because they love you.
Exactly.
And there was just an army of volunteers. My friend Paul Rainey, I always call him out, that's on here watching the show every morning. Him and his wife, Mary, volunteer there doing Meals on Wheels and doing all the things. They're just huge volunteers there, and just tons of volunteers. And so I say, we have 2 paid people at our benevolence center that are part of the church. But again, I was full-time, Terry was full-time, but most everybody, volunteer, guys. These are places you need to pour yourself into. Let me do a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to continue talking with Sherry Martell. You've been in here before. I've had you in here before, haven't I?
That's the first time I've been.
Really?
In.
I was thinking, but I've met you somewhere. I've met you around town.
Yeah.
But anyway, she is in for the United Way slot. This is the Tiffany's like, I can't be there, but can I send somebody? I'm like, oh, you sure can, because she does a beautiful job of telling us all about the things going on around the community, which I'll unpack those for us here in just a sec, Tiffany. But I got to talk about my friends Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Prime Realty team. Exit Prime Realty, yes, that is a new team, but it's the new name with the same wonderful Exit team. If you're looking for help in real estate, I was talking about Katie Myers. Maybe she needs to come in and help fix it up because you're getting ready to sell it. Well, then you need to call Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. You can call Rebecca at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, and talk to her about all the things you want to do, whether you're buying or selling, or you're just kind of just putting your toe in the water and wanting to see what the prices are, what are the interest rates, all those things. You can talk to her. She's an agent in White House. They took the White House office, that White House agency office that Rebecca has. And then they took the brokerage office that Barry has right here on the downtown square, Barry Richards, Exit Prime Realty, downtown Springfield. They combined those two to bring you Exit Prime Realty, to bring you the new name and the new branch in the exit tree. So buying or selling, whatever you want to do there, or if you want to work for them. I have ran into one of my students that graduated last year, and he's going into real estate. And I pointed him to, I'm really hoping he will, give Barry and Rebecca a call, because it's a great team to work with. They got great benefits, great opportunities if you're wanting to get into real estate. It's a great field. It is a great field. I kind of wish my husband or I, one, had gone into it part-time years ago, and really it's never too late. If it's something you're wanting to do. Barry and Rebecca both came out of other careers. He was a marketer for 17 years, a vice president of a media marketing company. He brings that to the table. When you come out of a diverse background and you go into something like real estate, you bring those experiences that make you uniquely qualified to do a lot of things. So that's what you're going to find with Barry and Rebecca. They're in Cross Plains. They're Cross Plainians, been there 28 plus years, very involved in the community, great friends. They'll be at the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival May 17th and 18th. Save those dates. But great friends and longtime sponsors of this program. So when you connect with them, Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty, please always reach out to them. We are talking with Barry Martell, who is with United Beneficiaries Bank here in Robertson County. They serve the Robertson County community. And so you're located right there next to the Hope, fully volunteer. What are we missing? Anything that we need to talk about that we haven't covered, Sherry, that you think?
Well, one thing that is coming up on May the 3rd, we have our semi-annual drive-through food pantry.
Okay.
It's always held behind the Baptist Church there on Main Street, 400 Main Street. Anyone is eligible to come. We don't do any kind of checks. We just want to make sure that we give out a whole truckload of food. And if anybody would like to sponsor one of our food drives, that's also available through Second Harvest. Otherwise, we have to pay for it out of our funds. So I'm looking for volunteers to pay for the food drive for us. But we give out almost a whole truckload of food, and we do it on a Friday morning. The truck usually gets there about 7:30. We have to have everything lined up and ready to start putting in the people's cars as they drive through by 9 o'clock. And usually by noon or sometime right around that time, we've given it all away. You know, and it's anything. I mean, it's anything and everything. They pretty much try to give us any bread products that they have available for us for that weekend. They also give us desserts and any type of vegetables. So it's a good drive through, and people get a lot of food. So it's, you just need to come through. We do ask you to have whoever's driving to have a driver's license so that we know you're from Robertson County.
Okay, so they do need that ID.
Yes.
Okay.
And we do this twice a year. We usually try to have one in the spring, later part of the spring, and then one in the fall. I think the fall one is going to be like the 27th of September. I haven't got it all lined out, but that'll be when it's coming up. But this next one is going to be on May the 3rd, Friday. It's a Friday morning. You don't have to bring anything. Just make sure your vehicle's ready to accept a whole lot of food, either the trunk, the back end of a truck, or whatever you have.
Okay, so May the 3rd, and that is a Friday, and that's perfect timing, and we'll just keep reminding people of that too.
Good. That'll be great.
And will it be there at your location?
No, it'll be behind the Springfield Baptist Church.
You just said that. I'm sorry.
Right there at 400 Main Street.
Okay, very good.
And it's a good thing. I mean, mean, like I say, we usually have around or over 200 families that drive through
Wow.
every time. So
That's
it's
wonderful.
it's a good opportunity. But we do take donations. Don't forget to bring donations. Like you said earlier, it's a lot easier for us sometimes to spend the money on things we need. I'll have people call and say they're going to do a food drive, and we appreciate anything everyone does. Our school system have been wonderful ever since I've been the director there. We've been able to receive good donations in the fall from all the schools, and it really helps us out. It's just one of those things where I can't thank them enough for the families and their ability to come with all that food and allow us to have a good fall season.
I love it.
Yeah.
And we're out of time, and I've got a couple of other things we got to mention. And if you think of anything after, let me go through this list real quick. And if you think of anything else, we'll come back and say bye. We'll just go a couple of minutes over. I promise you, I'm hurrying. But we don't want to forget about Laundry Love tomorrow. That they need your help up there at Sisters Coin Laundry. And I'm wanting to say 7, 8. I don't know. It's 8 o'clock. Do you remember what time?
I think it's 8.
About 8 o'clock that they want you to show up. And the last loads, I think, go in at 11. If you can possibly help with Laundry Love, they need volunteers. They've got another habitat build. If you want to come and work on the habitat house, it's going to be right next to the Isaiah house. You can work on that Sunday, but you've got to reach out to Tiff and talk to Tiffany over at United Way and get on the list for the Habitat for Humanity build on Sunday. It's another day that you can come out and build. And I just want to say too, if you want to hear Tiffany speak, they have a free lunch and learn at Vol State next week on May 22nd, 12 to 2, and you need to register. So reach out to them at the Springfield campus or reach out to Tiffany at United Way to get registered for that. It's free. 12 to 2, her topic, creating peace in a world of conflict. I love that. That's beautiful. But reach out to all those things going on. And I'll go over all that again tomorrow morning just to kind of remind you. Don't forget, too, about VITA. If you need tax help, you need to reach out to United Way and register for the free tax help that they'll have going on through the Saturday before. It's like April 13th is the last day for you to go and do that. And I got to do a real quick sponsor for Veterans and Motorplex. They're back on the schedule. They're not racing this weekend. I talked to Jerry earlier this week, and he said probably first or second weekend of April is going to be their first racing weekend because they're making some improvements at the track. Now, if you want to find out everything that's going on at Veterans Motorplex, you follow them at Highland Rim Speedway. Highland Rim Speedway, that is where you follow them. They've been around forever, but they changed the name several years ago, probably I think about 5 years ago. Veterans Motorplex is the name now. You'll see the banner there. Jerry is a veteran. He wants to honor the veterans. And this is a family-friendly place, guys. There's no alcohol served. They've got a concession stands with burgers and hot dogs and popcorn and all the things. Some of my kids at Greenbrier, that's their first job they've ever had is working at Veterans Motorplex. Just a great family-friendly place for you to go. And a $40 ticket will get up to 8 people in. $40, up to 6 kids and 2 adults. That is the general ticket that you can get. Racing happening really through March and October. The track is, they're open, they're doing work out there, but the racing is going to start first or second weekend of April and go all the way through October, probably on into November sometimes. And just great racing every Saturday night. You cannot beat it. It's so much fun. Now, when they have the big rigs and the specialty shows, that family ticket is not valid, but otherwise, $40 up to 8 people, up to 6 kids and 2 adults in. You can't beat it. Family friendly, 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier. If you need details, reach out to Jerry, 615-643-8725, 615-643-8725. Follow him at Highland Rim Speedway for Veterans and Motorplex. And as always, as I tell you, let them all know that you appreciate sponsoring our show. Anything that we've got that
South Main Street. If you're not familiar with where that is, but you know where the post office is in Springfield, we're across. If you're standing at the post office and look across the street, we're right there. Cope is right beside us. Mm-hmm. And if you would looking for a volunteer opportunity, that's another thing that we have. We're always looking for volunteers. So we would like to, hopefully you don't have to come see us, but if you do, please do.
And you will be so blessed if you come and volunteer, guys, working and loving on these people and just giving them a hug as they come through and fill up their car on May 3rd or whatever it is. And tell me the hours that you're opened again.
We're there from 10 to 1:30 on Monday through Thursday.
There you go. United Food Ministries, a great partner of United Way and one of the amazing volunteer opportunities right here in Robertson County, guys. Go and be a part of all